Hey everyone, welcome to a Drum Talk TV vlog, a concert review. This past Saturday, November 22nd, we saw Robert Plant and his band Saving Grace, also featuring Suzi, Dian on vocals, and they had Rosie Flores as the opening act. So we'll be recapping, reviewing all of that. I'm Steven, and this is, I'm sure all of you in Drum Talk TV land know him. It's Dan Schinder. How's it going, Dad?
It's going great. I'm very remote, folks. I guess everyone's remote from somewhere else at some point, but we live in the mountains in Arizona, east of Phoenix, but we're in Las Vegas visiting a lot of our other family. We saw Steve in LA for the concert, as he mentioned, so we're staying at one of our daughter's homes, and I'm out in the kind of, I guess, the common area. There's a quick look. There's a pool, some kid climb on things. I'm tempted to, I was going to do this from the slide, but I was afraid I'd fall. But yeah, this was I'm really excited to talk about this for so many reasons.
Yeah, and basically what led to this was you interviewed the drummer of this band, Ollie Jefferson, back in, I think it was early or mid-October, and afterward we talked with him, and you know, very thankful, which, you know, appropriate to say this week, I guess, you know, us being in the US and the holiday and whatnot, that we were able to get not only tickets but also VIP passes to the after show, and so we were able to get 4, and so you brought Nja, and I invited my friend Chris, whom I've known since high school. He's a musician, plays bass, and I also like guitar and a bit of piano.
Wait, is he a bass player or a musician? Just kidding. Just kidding, Chris. And for those who don't know, I think a lot of people know, Nja is my wife and Steve's stepmom, and it was I don't know, you lead. Where do you want to start? I feel so out of sorts not being at my desk in my office, you know?
No, yeah, don't worry. I have like all the clips. I'll even play a few clips of Chris's thoughts wherever appropriate. Cool. And I also have the clips from the show that you sent me, and also some of our picks and stuff. But cool. Yeah, going into this, so I don't know, is it worth reiterating your familiarity with Led Zeppelin and Robert Plant, or does pretty much everyone know it at this point?
I am stuttering. I know that not everybody knows, because not all our content always reaches everybody. It's easy to miss stuff. It doesn't get you. But in short, folks, I've been a huge Led Zeppelin fan since I was 6 years old. I'm 62 and a half, so 1969, I was 6, got turned on to them by older cousins, started playing the drums shortly before I turned 7. Was pretty good, I'm told. By the time I was 14, my dad took me to see Led Zeppelin, and that changed my life. That was my Beatles moment, if you will. And I went from wanting to be an oceanographer to wanting to be a professional drummer, which I did for many, many years. And I saw Robert Plant's first 4 solo tours. The first one with Phil Collins on drums for the first 2 albums, and then Now in Zen, Shaken and Stirred, and the album that your brother used to call The Melting Earth, because it's got a melting earth on the cover. I just can't think of the name of it at the moment, but just legendary. He's got to be arguably I don't think there's an argument, but arguably the most recognizable voice in rock over the last 50 plus years. You know, you got others, and I'm not comparing voices, I'm saying recognizability. Of course, Bruce Springsteen, you got Mick Jagger, Roger Daltrey, Ozzy, Ronnie James Dio, Rod Stewart, Joe Cocker. You know, there's many, but he was the one that really set the standard for I remember Geddy Lee in an early interview saying, you know, how Robert set the standard for high vocals, so that's why when Rush's early albums, his voice is just, you know, annoying to some people, quite frankly. But But yeah, so that's my relationship in short with Led Zeppelin. And many of you probably know that Steve and I have another show called Yes Shift. And we've interviewed John Anderson a couple times or once?
Once.
Once together.
Yeah.
And I interviewed him many years ago on the red carpet for Drum Talk TV. And
Yeah.
we've met him each separately or individually a few times. So that was my other, that's the fucking guy moment.
Yeah.
This is the only other one I'll say that about was Robert Plant. Those are my two favorites. So it was great. It was just really amazing to be in the room with him. And we'll get to how he sounded and everything. In fact, Steve, whenever you're ready, you could play one of the clips as a teaser into that part of the review if you'd like. It's up to you.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about Rosie Flores early on or wait until like a bit
Let's
later.
do that after. Let's do that after.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, Rosie Flores was the opening act for those who don't know. And yeah, we'll talk about her after some of this Robert Plant and
worth mentioning for sure.
Stuff. Yeah. So my familiar with Led Zeppelin, basically, I'd hear about them from you. And then I think it was in 2009 or something that I finally got around to listening to them. So
that's
I was
convenient.
like, oh, yeah. So I was like, oh, okay. So this is the band that Dad's always talking about. And I enjoyed it. It's, it's not quite as much in the prog rock lane as I tend to listen to. Although, interestingly, a few months ago when I interviewed Craig Marr of XOX Xeno on Yes Shift, he mentioned that he thought that Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes kind of sounds like it could have been like a Led Zeppelin song or like Jimmy Page playing. Yeah.
Wow. I don't hear that at all, but everybody here sings differently.
Right. And I guess I'll play a clip of Chris saying how he got into Led Zeppelin and all that, and then we'll continue through this. So
yeah, then we'll play a quick concert clip right after that. Give you guys a teaser.
So how long have you been like a fan of
and here's Chris
Plant and Zeppelin and
with his
all
sauce?
that?
Well, to be honest, when I first heard Stairway to Heaven, I was like, this is it? This is the hype? No, I actually had to listen to it a couple more times to really understand what it was. So it was a buddy of mine. You remember Ricky, right?
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, he was the one that introduced me to like all these bands, like The Who. He let me a Who record. He let me the Zeppelin record. He let me Pink Floyd. He let me all these kinds of things. It actually got him into the Stones, whether he wants to admit it or not. And yeah. So, but anyways, so I started listening to all this stuff when I was a teenager, and that's when I was learning how to play guitar. And I was wanting to learn how to, specifically, one of the first songs I wanted to learn was the Pink Floyd's Pigs on the Wing, parts 1 and 2, whatever, if you want to put them together, whatever, it's the same song. But, no, in any case, I just was really into like music and learning about all these bands and all these kinds of things. And like, if you're looking at a record, you see who wrote what song. I was very interested in learning who wrote the lyrics, who wrote the music. I used to always think it was like for example, Plant was always the lyricist, or Page was always the music. No, it could be both. It could be that they both contribute. Like I was listening to a Plant interview where he was talking about like when he was, that when he wrote Stairway, he was saying that, that came from the mind of a 21-year-old at the time, and obviously like, he's older now, so he has a different point of view on it.
Stuff I wrote in high school, especially, if I looked at it now, I might think some of it is a little bit cringe and maybe like kind of different from the type of stuff I would write now. I kind of feel like I was a different person back then, a different level of optimism, but yeah. Okay. I think Dad needs to log on again. But in the meantime, I'll go ahead and play the beginning. When Robert and his band came on stage. This is at the United Theater on Broadway in Los Angeles. They began with this track called "The Cuckoo." So check this out. And here's a bit of vocalizing. All right, and I think Dad is still trying to log on. So you saw that accordion there in that clip that Suzi was playing. So I'll play this little clip of Cris talking about the banjo and accordion real quick.
Your father described it very well, the genres that they were playing. It was like this Middle Eastern kind of sound at times. The guitar player who was playing the banjo, it was surreal how if I'd closed my eyes, I never would have thought that was a banjo. It was nuts. It was like, what? That banjo's, you'd expect a Kermit the Frog kind of sound, but no, this was this was like like some sort of ethereal stringed instrument that you would expect from the Middle East. No, and it also had the sound effects on it, the reverb and the delay, but it was just it might as well have been another instrument, but it was amazing how and they literally said he's like he could play almost every stringed instrument. I really liked how his Rob's co-lead singer would switch at some points. She would play bass too. She'd play the Hofner bass, and then she would play the accordion.
All right. He also talked about the harmonica at some point, so let's check
So it was
that
really
out.
cool when he busted out the harmonica. That was a really neat surprise when he just out of nowhere you just see he plays this instrument, and he plays it so well. Like the way he mixed the blues and the country kind of harmonica and the folk was it was done very well. How he'd been playing this probably since he was younger, since he was a kid. But I just felt that he was very proficient at that instrument. He just, it was like magic coming out of, the way he, because there's a specific, I've tried playing harmonica. It's freaking hard, man. It's the way he blew it, just hit the notes right, so to say. You know what I mean? No pun intended.
All right, I think Dad is back here. There we go.
I'm walking
All
closer
right.
to the house.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I played them the clip where Robert walks on stage as a band begins to play, and I put a couple clips of Cris. So going into this concert, were you expecting more solo, more, from the new Saving Grace album, or were you already expecting Led Zeppelin tunes even before you saw stuff about it online? Like, what were you expecting?
I expected most of the album and maybe 2 Led Zeppelin songs. I expected Ramble On and the Rain song. We got a lot more. We got Gallows Pole. We got Friends. He kind of melded some Black Dog stuff into Gallows Pole, which was cool, kind of leaned against the truck. And a couple others. I can't even think of them right now, but
Yeah,
I
I
will
can
say,
read off the set list real quick, but go ahead. Yeah.
oh yeah, do that real quick. Yeah, do that.
Okay, so they played The Cuckoo, Higher Rock, which is a Martin Scanlon cover, Ramble On, Soul of a Man, Let the Four Winds Blow, Orphan Girl, which is another cover song, Four Sticks, It's a Beautiful Day Today, As I Roved Out, Everybody's Song, probably my favorite Saving Grace number from the concert, For the Turnstiles,
Same here.
Friends, and then the encore was the Rain song and Gallows Pole. But yeah, go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah, well, let's back up to Four Sticks is not, folks, if you haven't seen a video of it from this tour or didn't go to the show, you can't imagine what it sounded like. It was not like they were trying to do Led Zeppelin's version of any of these songs. Ramble On was the closest to that in a way, but the music is made up of country, Americana, like old school country, like Gene Autry country, old school country, bluegrass, Southern, like Mississippi blues, and then you got overtones of music from India and music from Morocco and Marrakesh and whatnot. It just, what a weird blend that created this other like genre of music. It was just so good, and Ollie was just so good to, one of the things he said in his interview with me was there's no bass player, although Suzi played bass on one song, electric bass, but there's a cellist, but there's no bass player. So the instrumentation was Robert and Suzi on vocals. Suzi also played bass on one song. She played 2 different accordions on a few different songs. Then there's a cellist who played with a bow, sat and played with a bow and plucked. And then there was a gentleman who, Matt, I think is his name, who played bouzouki and the 10-string quattro, other acoustic guitars. And then there was Casey, who played electric guitars and acoustic guitar on 1 or 2 songs. And where was I going with that? Oh, so Ollie had a 26-inch bass drum tuned really low that carried the low end in the absence of a bass player. And it so worked. Don't throw stuff, folks. I'm not saying you don't need a bass player if you have a low-tuned 26-inch bass drum, but the way he filled that in was just magnificent. And the arrangement of Four Sticks was just incredible. It was a masterpiece. It was, to say it's a different song isn't the right way to put it, but the choruses were, you got to find videos, folks. I don't have the whole song. It was hard to get video from where we sat and people in front of me, and I'm short, and what can I tell you? I should have given Steve the camera. He's like 6'9", but not really. It's like 6 feet, but it was just the representation of the music from the album was so good. And Ollie playing with brushes in some songs, rods in a lot of songs, sticks in some songs. Everyone was a virtuoso on the instruments they played. And as Cris was mentioning about Robert playing the harmonica, it was nice to see him do that. And he is so good. I don't know how much you want me to go on. Why don't you take a turn? I got so much more to say about this show, but
Yeah,
your
so-
thoughts. What did you go in expecting, or did you watch a lot of videos? Because I didn't do that. I intentionally didn't do it. I listened to the album like 3 times, and
yeah, I was pretty much, I didn't look up anything. Like, I know we've had, we've seen that YouTube clip that of them playing, I think it was Everybody's Song. So I was kind of going into this clean, like thinking, if they only play stuff from Saving Grace, and I think it'll still be it'll be a great concert. And then you told me, oh, they're actually play a few Led Zeppelin tunes, and then I was like, oh, okay, so I guess I should expect a few Led Zeppelin tunes now. And I'll go ahead and play. We have 2 excerpts of Ramble On. I think I'll play the first one, and then we'll maybe play something else. And then we'll, just trust me, folks.
I figured I'd show some of the theater since I couldn't see the stage.
Just the way that. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I just got goosebumps again. Seriously, all on my arches, my back, and my head. I don't know why I turned it off right there, or maybe it was by accident. But the next clip kind of picks up from there. If you don't mind popping that in there.
Yeah, sure.
This is so much fun to watch again. I haven't really watched these.
Did you get goosebumps again?
I did. I did. I feel like a little kid. It's just the music just means so much to me, and just to hear his voice do anything. They did some other covers that are on that album. Um, it was just so good. It was so good. The Rain song. I told Nja, Steve, and Chris afterward when we were waiting for the band in the after show bit that as soon as he started singing the very first line, my whole body just got the chills on my butt cheeks, just clenched together. Like it was like I just froze. It just got me. I don't know how else to explain it. That's that voice, and he sounded just like on the film. The song remains the same, believe it or not, folks. Seriously, his voice is still so much there. I think I may have filmed some of the Rain song, and the orchestration part that John Paul Jones plays on the mellotron was done by Suzi on an accordion, and the other gentleman playing the cello with the bow, and it was just so ethereal. I could just gush over this for hours.
Yeah, the other clip, which we'll play in a little bit, is Four Sticks. But first, let's hear what Chris's expectations were for the set list. It's just like 2 minutes.
I wasn't surprised with the set list that he played. I was surprised that he played like some lesser known Zeppelin songs, like Friends. That was like, oh, I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. And then even when he did the Zepp songs, he like arranged them differently to where it was recognizable, but could have been a different song. But a lot of the I don't know if you want to talk about this later, but I liked how he like stepped away from lead vocals. You know what I mean? So at times, but
yeah, like they would kind of share the duties and whatnot.
Yeah, and he was very he was letting them shine. Even the musicians, their contribution was whatever instrument they dedicated themselves to at that show. But I wasn't surprised by the set list. I just thought it was cool how like a lot of the people were like standing up for the Zeppelin songs especially. And there's nothing wrong with that, I mean, that's his old band and that's what he's known for. But at the same time, I think he was happy playing traditional Americana kind of stuff that he played, you know what I mean? And then he played the Moby Grape cover, It's a Beautiful Day. That was kind of like out of the blue. It was out of the blue, but for this genres that they were playing last night, it made sense. That night, it made sense, I really did like the song that the guitar player sang lead vocals on. What was it? The Soul, every man has a soul, or something like that. Do you remember that song where it was the guitar player, the rhythm guitar player? Well, he played like multiple string instruments.
Yeah, people really were standing up a lot during the Zepp songs. And since I was like, we're toward the back, and so I had to keep standing up, I guess.
Nja hates that. But
Yeah.
Chris mentioned they did the Moby Grape song. That kind of didn't shock me because just knowing about Zepp, I know that Moby Grape was something he and Jimmy had in common when they first met, that Moby Grape was an influence on both of them. They both dug those albums. So that was neat. That was a really neat callback to his musical history, if you will, his influences. Yeah, I don't remember the name of the song that Matt sung lead on, but that was really cool.
I think it was Soul of a Man that he was talking about. Yeah,
Soul of a Man. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
The audio at the venue was amazing as well.
Yeah, and this venue, I think I saw a Beat there last year. I thought maybe there was some other artist I saw there as well, but I might be thinking of the Orpheum for some of these other concerts I've been to. It's like the same area and similar architecture. Yeah. And the interior architecture, like we've talked about with Nja, it looks amazing.
Yeah, we saw this at the United on Broadway, by the way, folks. And that's a legendary theater that was started by the United Artists, which was a company made up of Douglas Fairbanks, Charlie Chaplin, Mary Pickford, and I think one other, Errol Flynn or someone else from that era. And that was the first theater that they built. And Mary designed the architecture on the inside. I showed some of that in one of those clips. And then they had two others. And Nja said that she believes the other two others have since long been demolished. They were built in the early 20s, at least this first one was. And it's still as beautiful as ever, operational. They would show their own movies there. And that's where the UA theaters came from. Those of you old enough to remember walk-in theaters, and when you'd see movie advertisements saying, now showing in United Artists theaters, that was started by them way back then. So it was neat just to be in there and feel that energy and see that original architecture and everything. It was just marvelous.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll play this clip of Four Sticks, and then I guess we could talk about Rosie Flores and then talk about the after party, if that's all right.
Sure. Oh, God,
so great.
So damn good. I'll be upset, and they will hear from me if they don't put out an official DVD or concert film of this tour. Seriously, they're going back out in March, folks, and they're going to hit some of the bigger cities again and expand out into some smaller markets. They only did like 31 dates, I think, or less than that, or the tour was 31 days. And they hit mostly bigger cities. They probably wanted to test the waters or something. But I mean, I would go see Robert Plant if he fucking read from Dr. Seuss books. I mean, seriously, I would, anything goes. So good. And dynamics were just spectacular. So good with dynamics and treating the music the way it needed to be for that style for each arrangement. And afterward, when I got to chat with Robert a little bit, I said that arrangement of Four Sticks was just magnificent. What you did with the bridges, it almost sounded like something by the Blind Men of Alabama. it just, and he said, I'll take full credit for that. That was his response. So just, it's so good. It is so good. Folks, you got to get the album too. It's so good. You have the
Yeah.
album cover
And
handy?
yeah, I think I do. Let me go ahead and get that real quick.
Now let's
see.
pop that up. While you're doing that, you could hear toward the end of that clip there that Suzi started doing an accordion solo, and the only reason I stopped it there is I was just trying to take short clips and be present and everything. But there's the album, and when we interviewed Ollie, the first thing I told him was the album sounds exactly how that cover looks. And I know that could be perceived differently by people, but he agreed. He said that sums it up really well. But it is so Americana, but those overtones from Morocco and India make it Robert Plant's music. He's had, all the way, of course, going back to Kashmir and some other songs, but through his solo career, you've heard those sort of elements. And then when him and Jimmy did the No Quarter thing and performed with ensemble from Morocco, so it's part of his musical DNA. And I'm glad that it got sprinkled into this because it makes it different. It absolutely makes it their own. Not that it wouldn't be without that, but it's literally like a whole different genre of music, Steve, is how I see it. Hear it, view it, perceive it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So let me just take this off. And the opening act, Rosie Flores, she had like a trio, and I'll go ahead and play the couple of clips we have here. We have like a 20-second one and like a minute 21. That one is of Long White Cadillac, but check this out, folks.
And I want to mention that the drummer
Yeah, sorry, I think you were cut off before that clip played. You were saying something about the drummer?
Yeah, that's okay. There's a delay because I'm outside and stuff, but because by the way, folks, because my laptop is frozen, so I ran out with my phone. Here we go. Yeah, he's playing a 3-piece kit. It's a bass drum, snare drum, and a floor tom, and 2 cymbals and a hi-hat. And he played open-handed, folks, and he appears to be, I think, a left-handed drummer, like Ray Luzier, left-handed drummer playing open-handed on a right-handed setup kit. And I didn't notice that for a long time because the bass player was in the way. Bass player was phenomenal, by the way. So was the drummer. And we wanted, I'll just say this. We want to do something special with them. the three of them. And I'll leave it at that for now. Watch for the announcement. Sign up for our membership site so you get the emails about it. It's at www.drumtalktvbrilliance.com so that you get the emails, because I think within the next month there'll be an announcement about something we're going to do with them. Their music. So here's the thing with their music, folks. And then Steve, I'd love your thoughts. You know, whole generation apart, 31 years apart, whatever. I'm exactly twice your age right now. That's weird.
Yeah.
But the music was a combination of, it was mostly rockabilly with some other, I don't know how to categorize the other influences, but mostly rockabilly. And I turned to Nja at one point and I said, this is so good, but where does one find this on the regular radio dial? You know, on Sirius FM, I'm sure you can find a station of just rockabilly, right? Or just 50s music or just whatever. But on the regular radio, I don't know how to find stuff like that. For all I know, the mainstream rock stations are playing stuff like that now. I don't know. And it's not like they're the first ones to do rockabilly, contemporary rockabilly artists, but it was so good. She should make it really big. And to get asked to tour with Robert Plant, and they did do the whole tour. It's not like, hey, we got this local band, they're going to open a couple shows for some artists. They were on the tour with them, and saw her briefly at the after meet up, but I didn't get to talk to her, so we are going to reach out.
Well, she's not just
Steve, what'd you think of?
Yeah, well, she's not just like some artist. Like, I know we went into not being familiar with her, but looking into her, apparently she's been active since the 80s. She's done like a bunch of albums since then, you know, part of the country and rockabilly scene. She actually put out one recently called Impossible Frontiers, and I'll go ahead and read the set list in a moment, but first I want to show the album cover for that. Yeah, so there, I think it's about to be shown. Oh, maybe I need to remove this first. There we go. So that's Rosie Flores and the Talisman, Impossible Frontiers. And the set list for her portion of the concert was Crazy Mixed Emotions, Crying Over You, which is a James Infield cover. And then Lines and Who's Looking for Me are from this new album. And then in Everly Brothers cover, So Sad to Watch Good Love Go Bad. And then Johnny Kidd and the Pirates cover, Shaken All Over. And then You Tear Me Up. And then the Blasters cover, Long White Cadillac, which y'all just heard. So, and I actually had an interesting, you know, Chris and I talked a little bit about this. So it's like less than 2 minutes long. He like shared what he thought about that whole thing and that whole combining of the two acts. So I'll go ahead and play that real quick.
I thought it was a good rock and rockabilly trio. It was just, she was a really good guitar player. They were having a blast. You could tell. You know what I mean? So it's like, can you imagine just like being able to open for a legend? Like, not many people could say that, you know? Do you think that like the band chooses the opening act, or is it the manager, or both? What do you think?
I think it could be any of those. You know, it's a case-by-case thing. Sometimes certain bands are under the same, they have the same management, and so they'll be like, oh, it's easier to just get all the bands who are managed by the same person to tour together. Other times there might be, I don't know, maybe occasionally there's like some negotiating, like, oh, you know, if we get this really popular band or something to tour with us, maybe that'll help with sales. Or maybe some artists will see a lesser known artist and be like, oh, they're really good, we should have them on tour with us. You know, it could be a variety of things, but I would kind of like to be a fly on the wall when those discussions happen.
Yeah, like, you know, it needs to make sense with the band that they're opening for, the music, you know, the genre. So it has to be kind of not doesn't
Yeah.
have to be, but like it just makes sense if it's similar kind of music though.
Yeah, because I've heard that in the early 70s, the Eagles opening for Yes felt kind of
Oh,
weird, at least
yeah,
from like what I've heard about that.
that's a weird combination, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. How's your signal, Dad? Is it all right? I don't see you at the moment. Yeah. Oh, okay. I think he's gonna need to sign in again. So I'll go ahead and play a clip of Cris talking about the after show, and hopefully we can get Dad on soon.
It was really nice. It was really chill. Um, you know, when the musicians came out, it was just like they were ordinary people. You know what I mean? And they were
Yeah.
just, it was so cool seeing them like talk to various people. I do remember asking him who named the band. And he goes, "Oh, that was all Robert." So I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm.
What else? I remember him saying this is the greatest gig in the world. That was really cool hearing him say that.
Yeah. When we got around to talking to Plant, you said something about maracas to him, right? Like when he was shaking hands with us.
Yeah, he at one point in the set list he brought out maracas. So he looks at he first your dad introduced me as his wife, and he goes,
Oh yeah, yeah, because he thought that my stepmom Nja was like standing where you were standing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. And so he goes, and so he looks at me, and me and Robert, he's shaking my hand, and I said, the greatest maraca player. And he looks at his other friend, and he says, "Oh, those were cheap maracas, weren't they?" That was just cool to hear him say. And it was really cool.
Yeah, very very good humored there. And I'll show these brief clips of us with Ollie and then and with Suzi as well at the after show. So here's one with Suzi.
We're here with Suzi. We're actually bringing.
And here's with Ollie.
I know it's noisy here, but we're here with Ollie Jefferson, who just crushed it with his wife and their backup band and that other singer guy, Robert Plant. It was awesome. It was great. Watch from Ollie's interview on Drum Talk TV, and we'll do another one after the first year. All right.
Yeah, the location of the after party was like this room that was kind of dark, and they had like red light bulbs, and there's blue lighting. Yeah, I'm just helping Dad sign on at the moment, but he'll be on soon. So yeah, and I'll go ahead and show these pictures that I have from the show. Let me make sure I have those open. And again, whenever I take pictures of concerts, I feel like I sometimes I feel kind of self-conscious because I'm like, man, they're like these photos don't really capture the whole thing all that well. But let's go ahead and take a look at them. Oh, here's Dad. Hey.
Oh, great.
Are you all good?
Oops, I don't have my earbuds in. Hold on. Jeez. Yeah, my phone died. Sorry about that, folks.
Okay.
So I'm using my wife's phone. There we go. And she has it so it doesn't orient. Oh boy. Okay. Anyhow, hey, welcome back. Oh, you all were there. I'm back.
Yeah. Right, yeah. So I was just talking about the after show. Do you want to share some thoughts on that?
Sure. Yeah, it was great. The room was weird. Everyone thought it was weird. Suzi said, I've never seen an after meet and greet room like this. It was, I don't know if you described it already, but it was all purple lights with some red light torches here and there. It was narrow. It was the mezzanine that looked out a blocked off area where you could sit at a little table and watch the show through a window above the loge. But to have the meet and greet there was it was dark. It was dark. Everyone was purple or red. It was just
or blue.
just weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I showed them those brief clips that we took there. So yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, so you
And
could kind of see how the lighting was. Yeah.
yeah, and the first time, it took a little bit before Robert came in. We talked to Ollie a bit, and he said some really nice stuff about Drum Talk TV and like the people we get to interview, even like lesser known people. So it was really heartwarming to hear that from him.
Yeah.
And when Robert first walked by, he's trying to get to everyone, trying to talk to different people, but the first time he sort of passed us, you kind of turned to him and said, "We're friends with Ollie," and he said, "That's not going to work," and we all laughed at that.
And he just kept walking.
Yeah. but yeah, eventually we did.
You were
like
all
I
laughing,
mentioned
and I was
earlier,
like, "What just happened?"
Yeah, but eventually, like we mentioned earlier, we got to talk with him. You talked to him about Four Sticks, and we got to shake hands with him. And overall, it just seems like a really good humored guy, which is always great to see when you meet these people, even though they're of such a huge reputation.
Yeah, immense stature. Yeah, he talked. Ollie was there with me the second time I talked to him, and we talked about a little bit about hand percussion. Robert brought up some interesting things about djembe and udu drums and stuff like that. So it was cool.
Yeah,
it was great. I mean, one of my favorite vocalist of all time is Robert. John Anderson is second. Sorry, John. But they're so different. It's like they're not even in the same category of music. So,
Yeah, and when we asked you like what you thought, you ranked this concert highly, which was a little bit of a surprise to me, given the genre and you being like I kind of see you as mainly a prog rock fan, but at the same time, it was really cool to hear that this was like really high up there for you.
Yeah, this was, I think, my third favorite concert of all time. And I saw Steve Hackett the week before. That was mind blowing. I've seen a lot of mind blowing concerts by Rush, Yes, Genesis, Deep Purple, Queen. I can go on and on and on. My number one is seeing Led Zeppelin in 1977. My number two is the first time I saw Yes in the round, eighth row at the LA Forum, 1978 for the Tormato Tour. And this is number three. This was number three. This was so unique and so good. And to see that guy and that legend and do that music with those musicians, and trust me, folks, they're all very humble and grateful. It did not go to their head. They're not all walking around with their noses in there. Suzi was so sweet, and her and Nja just, she was just so wonderful and so sweet.
Yeah, everyone was just so down to earth, and yeah, it was really cool. And I'll go ahead and cycle through these photos I have on my end. Let me see. Okay, so there's the group photo, you, me, Nja, and Cris. Here's you and Nja. Here's a bit of the.
Back. Okay, that's me and Nja. It went by like bang. I want to show off my wife, who, folks, she's also our HR manager and our on-site producer when we do event coverage, production manager rather. Yeah.
Right. And there's a bit of the architecture.
That was right above where we were sitting. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's how the marquee looked. It said Robert Plant presents Saving Grace, featuring Suzi, Dian with Rosie Flores. Then that's when I don't remember if this was at the beginning of Saving Grace's set or maybe in the middle, but you can see them there. And here too, you can see that for the background, they had the Saving Grace album cover with like a transparent curtain over it. I guess there's someone trying to take a photo with their phone. Lots of people had their phones out for this. It was like you don't even need candles or anything. It was kind of funny. Yeah, so really cool to see them as a unit. And there's
there
Rosie
she
Flores
is
with your
Yeah.
band. Yeah, I took a few of those. A bit more.
That's a great
the
shot of the
interior was-
venue. Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's
beautiful.
a great one. Yeah. So really cool stuff. Was there anything else you want to bring up about this whole show, this whole experience?
Just that I encourage people to go look it up on YouTube. There is a full, I haven't watched it, but there is a full length show that I saw someone post. Yet it was only like an hour and 7 minutes, and the show was longer than that for sure. But maybe I misread it. Wasn't it like he played more than 2 hours, didn't he? They?
Mm, well, I think if you include Rosie's set, it was more than 2 hours. I don't know how long exactly Robert
we
and
left
Saving
it-
Grace's set was.
He started at like 8:30, and I think he played 2 hours because it was over like 10:30.
Well, yeah, man, my memory's hazy because I thought the show ended like around 10 or around 10. But then, actually, you know what? Maybe I could look at the timestamps on my photos and figure that out.
But in the meantime,
Um,
folks, I'll continue with what I was saying while Steve's looking that up. Look for this show, and when they come back out, get tickets. And be grateful that they are coming back out because you have another chance to see this. 77 years old, sounds incredible. He's really worked with his voice. I'm sure he's had training and he's taken care of his voice. I wanted to ask him that, but when we were talking toward the end of something, I was saying someone, I think from a record label, because it was in LA, there were a lot of record executives there and stuff. Yeah, just sort of like started to walk toward us, and then he was like, "Oh, it's you." You know, it was some young lady that was probably around in her 70s. So I didn't get to ask him how he takes care of his voice, but he sounded incredible. Look up, even just to hear the Rain song alone will blow your mind. Trust me.
Yeah, and I couldn't find the last photo I took was like 9:43 p.m. and it was during the concert. So I don't know if it was exactly 10 or 10:30 when it ended, but it felt like it went on for a while either way, like in a good way, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice full show. We're coming up on an hour, so we want to cut it before we're at an hour so we can put this on Instagram.
Well, Instagram has like the 20-minute limit, so
they changed that. I forgot. Okay. F those guys. You have any other last thoughts on it?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. I mean, like I was saying with you and with Cris and Nja, I'm always admiring whenever an artist can honor the past but also show what they're doing now, like a good mix of old and new. And this was another example of that.
What's different about the way he does it is he does the old in his current style. I don't know of any other artist that does that.
Yeah, that's true. It makes it more refreshing that way. Like I know people have their own way of how they remember the songs, but you can only like listen to the song remaining that same way, like over and over for so long, you know?
Is that because the song remains the same?
Pun intended. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So folks, check it out. Thanks for following what we do. Do check out, put the ticker down there, please, Steve. Do check out Drum Talk TV Brilliance.com, drumtalktvbrilliance.com. You could join our membership site for free. We have all kinds of great perks, even if you join for free. However, running through Cyber Monday, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time on Cyber Monday, now through then, we have a special half off. You could check out using the code DTTVBHALF, DTTVB half. It's half price at $6 a month or $60 a year instead of $12 and $120. Think about that. That's less than a bucket of chicken, a large pizza, a supersized combo meal. Think about how much money you may spend on that. So once a month, $6 or $160 for the year, or just join the free level. We got our music themed game shows. We got a couple biggies coming up, the last two of the year, and in fact, it's making me want to hit the punching bag. last one of the year. There you go. And it's going to be the championship. We got some huge stuff we're going to give away. So if you've never played the game, never won a round, this is your chance to get into the championship. That's on the 16th. But this coming Tuesday on the 2nd, December 2nd, is the last of the regular, and it's multi-genres, like 6 genres of music trivia. Just gassed. Just come have fun. I've heard people say, "No, I'm not good at games. I don't like to play games. I don't know music trivia." Just take a break from the BS, okay? It's shopping frenzy right now. It's crazy out there. The traffic, the parking, the people at the store, at the mall, at home. I mean, out there. Just come take a break. Have some fun for a chance to win prizes. You can even win a guest VJ spot to co-host a show on Drum Talk TV. So, did I leave anything out, Stephen Schinder?
No, I think that pretty much covered it.
Okay. We'd love to see you there, folks. Get in. We have a huge year planned for people who belong to the membership site. Some big, big stuff. We just had Nico McBrain. Had you joined the premium level before that or bought a gig pass, you could have asked Nico McBrain. We do fan Q&As, private fan Q&As with big artists, legendary artists, even Nico McBrain. And also record producers and also record label executives, live stream concerts we're going to start doing again as the year kicks up, and some new stuff that we're planning as well. We'd love to see you there. And most of all, for those of you around the world, Americans or otherwise, who celebrate American Thanksgiving, thank you so much for following what we do, whether you've been with us for the whole 13 years or just found us. We really appreciate you dipping in, and have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you soon.
All right, for sure. Thanks, folks. We'll see you all soon. Bye.
Yep. Bye.